Themis is the Greek goddess of justice, divine order, law, and the custom, and her symbol is the scales of justice. Her Roman counterpart is called Justitia, and she personifies divine law, that which is put in place. Now, judges were referred to as Themistocles, the servants of Themis. Many defense lawyers of angel of death nursing case studies jingle the goddess of Themis' scales of justice, resulting in infant mortality, while their narcissistic clients manage to manipulate the judicial system or to go undetected. Themis is not wrathful, but if she is disregarded, then the goddess Nemesis will step in, and she brings just and wrathful retribution. In August 2023, Lucy Letby, a former neonatal nurse in Britain of the Countess of Chester Hospital, was convicted of the murders of 7 infants and the attempted murder of 7 others between June 2015 and June 2016. Now, currently, Lucy Letby's case is trending headlines again, because on the 4th of February 2025, her new legal team, led by Mr. Mark MacDonald, applied for her case to be reviewed as a potential miscarriage of justice. Also, in 25 February, a panel of international experts have just concluded that all the incidents could be explained by natural causes and substandard care, and there is no evidence of deliberate harm. Now, Dr. Dewey Evans, a retired pediatrician and a professional expert witness in Lucy's trial, stated that people find it very difficult to believe that a young white English nurse from a responsible background could be a killer, and that she hid in plain sight. Dr. Evans has since received threats from supporters vehemently claiming Lucy's innocence. In September 2024, during an inquiry chaired by Lady Justice Thirlwell, in her opening statement, Ms. Rachel Langale, the Casey, referred to the fact that Lucy Letby was trained at the University of Chester, and their curriculum included the case study of Beverly Allitt. Now, within a span of 3 months, between February and April 1991, a total of 13 babies' lives was endangered when 23-year-old nurse Beverly Gale Allitt killed 4 of them. She attempted to murder 3 others, and she caused grievous bodily harm to a further 6 at the Grantham Stephen Hospital in Lincolnshire. Now, during Beverly's trial, it was argued that she suffered from Munchausen by proxy and that she inflicted self-harm since childhood. She pleaded not guilty, but in May 1993, Beverly was sentenced to 13 life sentences. As she went on a hunger strike immediately after her sentencing, Beverly has since been incarcerated at the Rampton Secure Hospital in Nottinghamshire. Now, Beverly's mental state was assessed when she was arrested, and the psychiatrist concluded that she was not mentally ill and she should be sent to a prison, not a hospital. However, it did not suit Beverly to go to a prison. For her not to be transferred, she then admitted to the 13 crimes, which tipped the scales of justice in favor of the hospitalization. And then the scales were tipped again on the 3rd of October in 2023, when Beverly realized if she was transferred to a mainstream prison, then she would become eligible for parole within 6 months of her transfer. So she appeared before a mental health tribunal to be assessed again. Now, changing her plea from not guilty to confessing the murders, just to suit her own needs, tipping the scales of justice, suggests that Beverly Allitt is not showing remorse or an inkling of insight into the suffering and the pain of the parents of these children. Currently, at the making of this video, she's still incarcerated at the Rampton Secure Hospital. If you would like to know more about these cases and the psychological profiling of angels of death, then please join my Patreon account. Now, across the Atlantic, at the American Veterans Affairs Medical Center in Northampton, Massachusetts, staff noticed an increase in the cardiac arrests in the wards where nurse Kristen Gilbert was on duty, but they passed it off as a joke, calling her the angel of death. Later, during her trial, the prosecutor pointed out that Kirsten was on duty in about half of the 350 deaths that occurred in that hospital since she joined the hospital in 1989. In 1996, finally, 3 nurses linked the murders and the number of cardiac arrests to the decline in the supply of epinephrine, and they called for an investigation. Now, Kirsten left the hospital and checked herself in and out of psychiatric centers 7 times for a day or 7 days up to a time. On the 14th of March 2001, Kirsten was eventually convicted by a jury on 4 murders and 2 attempted murders. Now, since her crimes were committed on federal property, they were subject to the death penalty. Her defense team then pleaded for the emotional well-being of her children to be considered. And on the 26th of March 2001, the jury recommended a life sentence or life imprisonment. Now, Kirsten Gilbert is currently serving her sentence at the FMC Carswell in Fort Worth, Texas. It's a federal prison for female inmates of all security levels, primarily with medical or mental health needs. Now, she rattled the scales of justice again in July 2003 when she dropped her federal appeal for a retrial after the U.S. Supreme Court ruling that would have allowed the prosecutors to call for the death penalty. Now, Lucy Letby's outcome is still pending, yet Themis' scales settled in favor of 2 nurses formerly convicted, but since they've been reprieved. In 2004, Lucia de Burke of the Netherlands was convicted of 7 murders and 3 attempted murders of patients in her care. She refused a psychometric evaluation, and when a psychologist testified in court that she was theatrical, narcissistic, aggressive, and had a personality disorder, Lucia answered, "Yes, that sounds like me." Now, along with her sentence, she was ordered to mandatory psychiatric treatment, despite the state clinical psychological observation unit finding that there was no evidence of a mental illness. People who commit murders are not by default mentally ill. In April 2010, Lucia de Burke was exonerated based upon statistical reanalysis of her case. And likewise, in Italy, Daniela Poggiali, who was accused of killing 38 of her patients, was exonerated in 2021 after confounding factors were found in statistical reanalysis of the hospital's mortality data. She was found not guilty by a Supreme Court in January 2023. Can one observe the ominous shadow of Nemesis in the background due to the fact that statistical probabilities are now deemed to determine that which is put in place by Themis? Last month, in February 2025, a video recording of 2 nurses admitting on camera that they would kill Israeli patients in a Sydney hospital sent shockwaves through Australia. In the video, posted by the Israeli influencer Max Weifer, the male nurse, identified in the local media as Ahmed Nadir, says he sends Israeli patients to Yahanam. This is an Islamic place akin to hell. And the female nurse, Sarah Abu Lepta, accuses Pfeiffer of having no soul, while she says, "I won't treat them, I will kill them." Both were immediately suspended by the health authorities. Now, the New South Wales Health Minister, Ryan Park, described the video as appalling, and he announced that a rapid examination of the hospital records did not find anything unusual, but there is a full-scale investigation. And it's been reported that Nadir had apologized to Pfeiffer and to the Jewish community as a whole. Now, the Australian health authorities immediately responded to this video, but what if it was not revealed in social media? Angels of death too often go undetected because fellow staff members do not raise the alarm, and if they do, authorities do not take them seriously. Thank you for watching, and please give us your thumbs up and subscribe to this channel. And you can read the articles on my website, mickipistorius.co.za. And if you are seriously interested in criminal profiling or you'd like to become a criminal profiler, then please join my Patreon account.